The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman.
He just told me, don't say anything or harm would come to me. And I believed him, because if he had just done what he done to me, and he's an officer, who would believe me? Like he told me, who would believe me? And I believe that. Who would believe me? I was just a average black woman I was still young. I was just an average black woman. And who would believe me over him? So I kept my mouth closed.
Hello everyone, it's Queen Line back to you with another video. This video pertains to a former Kansas City police detective and allegations weighed against him that spanned over 26 years. He was set to go to trial on December 2nd, 2024. It has been confirmed that Roger Goldsby unfortunately unalived himself. Now, the Kansas Bureau of Investigation stated in part, there are no indications of foul play in the unaliving of Roger Goldsby. Reports stated that Goldsby was found unalived on his back porch after a resident reported hearing a gunshot. Law enforcement set up a crime scene outside Goldsby's home on the same day. Prosecutors allege that for decades, Goldsby was targeting black women and girls and was terrorizing female residents of poor neighborhoods in Kansas City. They feared if they crossed paths with Goldsby, he would demand favors and threaten to harm or jail their relatives. Goldsby was facing 6 felony counts of violating women's rights. Other allegations included assault, abuse, kidnapping, and trafficking. 5 women filed a lawsuit not only against Goldsby, but Kansas City and 3 former Kansas City police officers, alleging their rights were violated. Reports also state that there's a double homicide case in which Goldsby investigated, which resulted in an exoneration. In addition, Jay-Z's Rock Nation filing 2 separate lawsuits, one in 2021 and the other last year, against Kansas City and Kansas City Police Department, alleging that minority and immigrant communities have been subjugated to an alarming pattern of abuse at the hands of Kansas City and Kansas City police for decades. In their recent filing just last year, Rock Nation submitted a Kansas Open Records request with the KCK-PD and the Unified Government of Wyandotte County and Kansas City, Kansas. The filings ask for complaints against current and former detectives and officers relating to past investigations into the KCK-PD by the FBI and the Kansas Bureau of Investigation, documents about the unalivings in the Wyandotte County Jail, and department training materials. In the 2021 lawsuit, Rock Nation argued that the department should be compelled to release records that would reveal complaints made against officers, as well as records the department supplied to the FBI and other law enforcement agencies about its own employees. Now you will watch this brief news clip and I will be back with my commentary.
Disgraced former KCK police detective was set to face trial on sexual assault charges Monday when he died by suicide. The KBI just released a report saying Golubski died from a gunshot wound to his temple. They do not suspect foul play, and agents are still waiting on a toxicology report. Now, one of Golubski's former co-workers is coming forward claiming there were warning signs.
KMBC 9's Andy Alcock spoke to a now retired KCK police detective about what he saw.
That's a big problem, and you need to do something about it.
Former KCK police detective Max Seifert said about 20 years ago, then Chief Ron Miller told officers at a training class Roger Golubski had a problem withholding information from his colleagues. Miller on Tuesday issued a statement about the numerous accusations of sexual assault against Golubski. It says KCK PD command staff had no idea what he was doing. Anybody who knew was obligated to report it. Nobody reported it.
And nothing could be further from the truth. He knew there were problems with Roger Golubski. He knew it, and he did nothing about it.
Seifert tells us he retired early from KCK-PD in 2005 because of Miller's leadership as chief. Specifically, Seifert claims Miller protected wrongdoing from officers like Golubski from being exposed. Miller, other former KCK police chiefs, detectives, and the unified government are being sued over several accusations of Golubski's sexual misconduct. In a statement about Golubski's now canceled criminal trial, Miller, who's now the U.S. Marshal for the state of Kansas, said Tuesday, "I think we needed a trial. We needed the ladies to tell their story for the public."
I thought he was a poor choice for the chief of police, as well as I think he's a poor choice for the U.S. Marshals.
Reached by phone, Miller said KCK-PD is aware of Detective Seifert's claims and they've never been proven. Andy Alcock, KMBC 9 News.
Filed a lawsuit which includes Miller as a defendant. There's a motion to dismiss it because many of the accusations are decades old.
I cannot begin to imagine what this community is facing as these communities that are considered vulnerable went through because one man and other entities weaponized their authority and abused persons because they knew that no one would listen. That's the white privilege that we are seeing in real time, in which allegations are being brought up against Golubski and other former and current officers about them abusing their authority and violating people's civil rights, and nothing is being done. Had it not been for social media, I would not have known about this unfortunate story. Had it not been for Jay-Z's organization, Rock Nation, and other organizations fighting to get these stories heard, the public would not have been notified, because it's obvious that there is a problem in Kansas City in which officers feel like they can have full immunity over communities that are classified as vulnerable, and knowing that a system will not move with urgency delays the process of justice. I would not be surprised if there are other cases unknown to us in which Gillespie and others in Kansas City violated the civil rights of residents because they are afraid that no one will believe them. And speaking of immunity, the twice impeached, 34 times convicted felon stated that he would indeed give full immunity to officers. So please do not be surprised if these types of stories are not aired to the public. We must be mindful that for every action there's a reaction, and that persons are going to pay the unfortunate price because persons thought this election cycle was a joke. It should also be noted that this is not the first time that controversy has been surrounding Kansas City. Alongside neighboring Excelsior Spring in Missouri, where Timothy Haslett Jr. is being charged with first-degree assault, first-degree kidnapping, second-degree assault, in addition to being indicted on homicide charges of Janine Crossdale, who was found last year. His pre-trial conference will be held next year, October 2025, while his trial date is set for December 2025. Again, Black women were his targets, in which residents of Kansas City and Excelsior Springs were begging officers to search for Black women that were unaccounted for. Prosecutors allege that Haslett assaulted, detained a Black woman against her will for weeks. The woman escaped while Haslett was dropping off his child at school. Officers, once they arrived at his home, discovered a dungeon-like cell in his basement, painted black and equipped with several devices to restrain the woman. Now, the Kansas City police denied allegations that they were not following through with concerns of missing Black women, stating in part, there are no current missing persons reports which correspond with evidence examined. So once again, Black women are informing Kansas City police departments, and other authority personnel that persons are missing and that they have an officer who is weaponizing his authority with others, undermining vulnerable communities, and they did nothing. We live in a society where Black women, where persons within the Black community must bring evidence when they are the victims. The mental gymnastics, the mental and physical trauma that these victims have gone through because the system refused to listen is an issue that we must all address. This notion of not believing Black women until a famous celebrity or evidence being leaked for persons to finally wake up. America, we really do have a problem in not listening, believing, and protecting Black women. I truly hope that the victims involved, known and unknown, are getting the help that they need in order to moving forward and thriving in their new chapters. In addition to sending condolences to Janae Crosdale family and friends as this time, as they are grieving the loss of a loved one, and now in the process of waiting for upcoming trial dates and seeking possible answers of losing Miss Crosdale. I will leave in the comments and description below for organizations and hotlines as it pertains to trafficking and mental health. I thank you for watching, and as always, please be safe out here, and I will see you in the next video.